In today's episode, we chat with two employees of Syneos Health, Michael Sharsad, Senior Engagement Manager, and Stephen Chang, Managing Director. Syneos Health combines world-renowned clinical research and commercialization capabilities with today's most advanced science, business, and data technologies to make real advances possible. The duo visited KGI in mid-October to give an industry talk and speak with students about their company, consulting, and much, much more. In this episode, we listen as KGI's Director of Corporate Partnerships, Shannon Braun, speaks to the pair.
Today we welcome Syneos Health to campus. We have Michael Sharsad and Stephen Chang, Senior Engagement Manager and Managing Director at Syneos Health. Welcome, you two. And would you mind just sharing a little bit about your background? And we'll start with you, Michael.
Sure, thank you. So essentially, I went to Rutgers Business School for grad school. I got my MBA in pharmaceutical management and marketing. Came out of B school, and I was debating whether I should go into industry or consulting. And I didn't want to go the typical route of consulting because I knew what that culture was like and what that environment was like. And then I had a couple of friends that say, "Hey, come to Syneos, we're a little different." And I said, "Are you sure about that?" And they said, "Yeah, come check it out." And I went to the LA office, I interviewed out there, and I really did fall in love with the culture of the office and all the people that I was working with. And ever since, I've been with them now for close to 7 years, working in their commercial strategy and planning practice, and also doing a little bit of work in their medical affairs and pricing and market access now as well.
Now you, Stephen?
Great. Native of San Diego, I actually went to UCSD for my undergrad, where I doubled in bioengineering and biochemistry. During that time, I also worked at the Scripps Research Institute for about 3 years, and dawned on me I didn't want to be a lab rat for the rest of my life. And so I heard about KGI. Admittedly, the program was a lot different than where it is today, but decided to give it a shot and came to KGI. And I think the 2 years at KGI really transformed my thinking of the biotech industry and pharmaceutical companies as a whole, and just realizing that there is an opportunity beyond just basic R&D research. So really that sort of transitioned my thinking into looking at something more commercial based and also consulting. And so at the time, Campbell Alliance, which is now Syneos Health, was recruiting at KGI, and met some of the recruiters, some of the team members, and realized that this was a firm that really offered an opportunity for growth and development. And so over the last 10 years, I've had the opportunity to pretty much grow and develop at Campbell, now Syneos, from coming in as an associate consultant and working my way up now to one of the managing directors.
Great. So Syneos is an integrated end-to-end biopharmaceutical solutions company. Stephen, can you tell us a little bit more about what that means?
Absolutely. This is what we call the BAM model, right? And it's something that's actually really exciting and innovative for the industry. In the past, historically, companies have always looked at the various functions within their company as individual silos. So clinical research would be by themselves, commercial would be by themselves, and even within each one of those bigger functions, you would have subdivisions of functions and groups that would operate within their own silos. And so what the BAM model actually does is allows for a fully integrated solution. In many ways, I view Syneos Health as a pharmaceutical company without a drug. We can do everything that you need to bring a drug from basic research and development into market, and be able to complement and support our clients in doing so. And so that said, our clinical team would be able to help with the clinical trials, the recruitment, and the execution of the phase 1, 2, 3 trials. And they'll be able to capture insights from our commercial team to be able to inform on which study designs to make or what are some of the best endpoints to incorporate. And likewise, our commercial teams, which consists of contract sales organizations, PR agencies, advertising agencies, as well as consulting, we're able to leverage the scientific and clinical insights from our CRO and be able to make our commercial activities and functions a lot more effective. And so really this synergistic approach is reflective even in our name of Syneos, and this BAM model is something that we're really proud of.
So you're both involved in the commercial strategy side of the business. Can you share a little bit more about what responsibilities you have and maybe what a typical day might be? And I'll start with you, Michael.
Sure. Yeah, it's actually pretty exciting to be on the strategy side of it. You're really dealing with the real world problems that companies are facing with on a day-to-day basis. A typical day could really be, client calls you up and say, "Hey, I've got this issue. Maybe I'm thinking about our organization is thinking about launching a drug in this space, and we're 12 months out from launch, and I need to make sure the organization is on the right track. We've got the right strategy in place, and we're going right the wrong direction. And but two, also, how do we get everyone prepped and ready to go and make sure that we execute on this launch flawlessly?" And in a situation like that, that's when we would put a team together, and then I'd manage a team, probably working in conjunction with Steven oftentimes as well, and a handful of consultants, where we'd go in, review all the data and the background of clinical science and information in particular, and conduct secondary and primary research to understand the market a little bit better, get some first world, real world insights based on firsthand experience, and then really compose a strategy that makes sense for them. And so on a daily basis, could be anywhere from conducting secondary research, doing primary research, doing interviews, to running around doing presentations and elaborating all the findings that we're hearing in the market.
And how about you, Stephen?
Yeah, I would say a day in the life of consulting really consists of two things: talking to people and making slides. And so I do feel like that those things encapsulate what a consultant does. And I say it a little facetiously, but in the sense of talking to people, it's either talking to clients on the phone or in person during live meetings to give recommendations, or to just really interview and understand what the key problems are. And likewise, from building slides, it's actually summarizing all of the ideas and the insights and the research that the team has captured into something that's cohesive and something that's logical that the client can then use to either inform their leadership or leverage for their own board presentations, for example. So beyond that, as a managing director, a lot of my role also deals with internal activities within the operations of consulting. So making sure people are staffed, where people are trained, make sure that we recruit and hire, and just really build up the overall culture of our firm as a whole. And so I would say about 80% of my time is really focused on project delivery or selling new projects and maintaining client relationships, while the remaining 20% is really focused on building up the organization and making it a great place to work.
So many KGI students are interested in consulting. What kind of advice would you give one of our new graduates trying to get into this field?
One, attend a prestigious institution such as KGI. But two, I would say, learn, keep your eyes open, read new articles, stay up to beat with the different trends that are going on, and stay informed. The more you know, the more powerful you are, and then the more you can call upon when you're looking at different experiences, different analogs. It helps when you're doing research, but really just understanding the market as best as you can, I would say, will probably put you at an advantage versus other students as well.
Yeah, in terms of advice for people interested in consulting, I think I actually might make this a little bit broader, just advice for people looking to enter the work field as a whole. It really is building your own brand. At the end of the day, people will know you from your reputation in grad school, from your reputation from your first job, and also your reputation for every single job thereafter. So everything that you do, even now, from the projects that you're working on to how you introduce yourself to a recruiter, to how you interact with your colleagues on your first project, all of these things are things that people will remember and document. And we're in an industry now where people stay at jobs for 2, maybe 3 years, and then switch. Right, but the biotech pharma industry is so small, so incestuous, and you never know where paths may cross again in the future. So that said, make sure that you're building a reputation for yourself and maintaining that brand, even now while at school, because in many ways, your classmates may be your clients or your colleagues in the future, and you don't want to be that guy or that gal, right? So I would say that's absolutely critical. And so similar to what Michael was saying, have that thirst and that hunger for knowledge and more information. Right, continue to develop yourself and seek to the advice from other mentors, folks that in the industry that might be able to help put you in a positive trajectory.
So there are a lot of consulting firms out there. Does one of you want to share a little bit more about what the culture is like at Syneos?
Sure, I'd love to talk a little bit more about the culture. I think what I love about Syneos is the people, and I think this might sound a little cliche, but the people that we work with are smart, they're intelligent, but they're really down to earth, right? You're not the snobby scientist, but rather it's the innovative West Coast scientist with jeans and a really cool hairdo. And so I think that's what I really enjoy working at Syneos, in particularly the consulting division. I would say I think about 95% of our firm all has a graduate degree or higher, right? So you're dealing with really smart, top-notch people who have PhDs, MDs, MBAs, and again, that just helps drive the intellectual curiosity. And because of that, it's always an innovative place to work. It's something that challenges you. It's also a place that also tests and sometimes strains you a little bit. But I think because of that, you are growing, you are developing. And so culturally, I think there's one of a work hard, play hard, but still not take things too seriously type of culture.
Yeah, just to add to that, someone actually asked me what the culture was like in the office over the weekend in one word, if I could describe it, and I said welcoming. And I think that was a very insightful comment, because really it's a very welcoming environment. It's very collaborative. We're not like other firms where, people are competitive and they just try to get ahead by stepping on the toes of others. And I thought that was one of the reasons actually I've stayed there for so long now. And we do like to have fun. Look, I think you have to be smart and you have to be hardworking. I think that's a minimum requirement to get into any top tier firm. But really what we do like to do is we do take it a step further. We have fun in our offices. Certain days we might be in yoga pants and stretchy pants and maybe cat socks or something like that. On other days I've seen people rollerblade around in the office because they're going around, because we're co-located with some of our PR and comms colleagues as well. So we like to keep it a fun, light environment as much as possible.
And actually, if I could add a little bit more too, I think what really helps the organization is also that it does have the small firm feel, but it has the support and the base of a large public organization, right? That a lot of the consulting offices, we are spread across the world. So geographically, you are able to build a community amongst other consultants, get the training, get the development, get the mentorship that you need to be successful at your job. But in addition, because we are a public organization with 24,000 employees globally, there is the stability, there's the infrastructure, there's the all the things that you would need from a world-class organization. And so I think those are things that help build a culture of innovation, but also stability for folks who aspire to be able to grow in a formative organization.
So, Stephen, you graduated from KGI in 2008. And so I have to ask you, how do you feel KGI might have prepared you for some of the work that you've been doing in your career?
Yeah, that's a great question. With KGI, admittedly, the program has changed over the last 10 years, and it's been transformative in terms of where KGI has set me up for my career trajectory. I think the professors and the teachers and the various advisors that are available at KGI are top-notch. These are folks from industry or people from academia that just really have a wealth of knowledge, and I think that set a very good foundation of understanding and interacting with the biotech pharma industry in the future. The coursework, while diverse, I think also provides a good breadth of understanding that you will need to be successful in consulting, right? One day I could be on a medical affairs project, and the following day I'll be on a marketing project. And the next day I'll have to build a forecast. So there is a lot of skills that need to be developed, and I think KGI does offer the coursework and the curriculum that really allows you to be effective at that job. Now, admittedly, with the TMP projects, it's, you spend a whole year on the TMP, and then now that I look back from consulting, I realize, wow, I could have done that project in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, right? And so a lot of it is compressed, but the structure, the framework, the collaboration, the mentality of trying to figure out a problem that you don't know independently, but then knowing where to turn for resources and info, I think KGI does really set the very good foundation for being able to do that and be effective in consulting.
So today you had the opportunity to share a little bit with our students over lunch. We really, really appreciate you coming in to do that. And Michael, I know you shared a little bit more about some trends in industry. Can you just cover a few of the topics that you covered for those that couldn't make it today? Yeah,
absolutely. I think one of the major ones that we're seeing in the market, and this buzzword, is biosimilars, right? What is a biosimilar? Why is it important? Why do I care about it? And what we saw in terms of trends are that, one, there are tons and tons of manufacturers that are trying to come and enter this biosimilar space, over 150 across the globe. And what that means is, there's got to be some market value that they're trying to capture and some importance for them to want to enter this market, which leads to number two. And number two is, a figure that the Rand Corporation threw out is over the next 10 years, biosimilars and entrance of biosimilars is estimated to actually save approximately $54 billion to the healthcare system in the U.S. alone. So that's not just global, that's just U.S. So you can see that there's a significant amount of value that you're saving here. And the big trend is, you're seeing a couple of them. One, for companies who are actually producing biosimilars, it's obviously a market that they're trying to understand, learn about more. How can they obtain market share? How can they get to market quicker? But on the other side, for companies that have reference products or originator products, how can they defend against the entrance of these new competitors that are coming to market? You've got a drug like Humira, which is $16 billion a year, and you've got 150 companies saying, I want a little piece of that $16 billion. So companies come to us and they say, hey, can you help us devise these strategies? What are the trends in the market? What is the best practice that we can employ to really go ahead and defend and protect our market share? And that's really what we do on a day-to-day basis.
So, Stephen, you had the opportunity to give an info session for some of our students interested in consulting. What were some of your key takeaways from that session?
Yeah, I would love to be able to tell the students at KGI that the foundation that you're building here at this school will really tee you up for success in consulting, right? That in consulting, you need to be nimble, be on your toes, be a team player, be collaborative, be somebody that people enjoy working with, but you also need to be smart and dynamic. And so I think a lot of those values that you would see in consulting would be something that a KGI student would embody. That's one of the reasons why Syneos has been recruiting at KGI for more than 15 years. And it's something that we're very proud of because we've seen a ton of success from the students coming from KGI at Syneos or just in consulting in general. And so really, hopefully that for those who hear this podcast, that they would be able, if they're interested, to be able to reach out to us and to just learn more about the organization, whether it's in consulting or any one of our other functions.
Thank you both. We really appreciate you taking the time to come to KGI today.